Nityanandam, this is Ma Chitambara, the smiling sannyasi. So today's video I'll be talking more about my experiences so far as a sannyasi. So living my life as an ordained Hindu monk by my beloved guru, His Holiness Paramahamsa Sri Nityananda. So we have initiations into the life of sannyas that happen periodically around here. So I know it appeals to, from what I've seen in my 2 years of living this lifestyle, I've seen that this lifestyle appeals to all different backgrounds, people from various different countries, nationalities, and definitely all walks of life. So from young kids that enter the Gurukul to people in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s. So there's literally there's something in this lifestyle for that resonates with virtually everyone I've seen. So there's no prerequisite other than your seeking and your desire to have a super conscious breakthrough and give your whole life for that. So we were having a discussion in the Adinam the other day where Swamiji basically called for us, and there was interest from a few people that wanted to take the vows of sannyas, but there were also quite majority of people that were feeling that it's not the right time for them. So the one topic that Swamiji brought up specifically was around one of the vows that we take. So there's 5 vows that we take when we become sannyasis. One of them is that of Brahmacharya, or celibacy. So it equates to actual abstinence from any sexual interactions. But it's not just that, it's also having that celibacy in your heart and also in your mind, and basically on every level. So a true sannyasi drops that lust pattern completely from their system. It won't even be there anymore. So during this meeting, Swamiji wanted each one of us to basically verbalize why we had taken sannyas. And one thing that I wanted to speak about, which was difficult to verbalize, about celibacy in particular, and my experience of living my life and having pledged my life to really upholding these vows, right? And not just upholding them, but seeing the real value of living my life in this way. So one thing I wanted to verbalize for people that might be curious as to why would you even want to do that? You know, why would you even want to pledge your life to being celibate when it, especially in this day and age, it's so against the grain of what the whole of society is basically encouraging us to do, is express this one part of ourselves and be open and whatever else is out there in society. So for myself, I can say it was kind of a natural happening. So when I say natural happening, I mean that we all understand there's a certain sense of attraction that we might feel depending on what gender you relate to and how you see others. So we will have that certain feeling, connection or attraction to whether it's the opposite gender or same gender, depending on your sexuality, whatever that may be. There's a certain chemical hormonal response that we all have. So in me, in my personal experience, after my seeking got quite intense, that started to fade away, and it faded away significantly, to the extent where I could appreciate the beauty of someone else, and I could appreciate the qualities that they may have, but there was no desire and there was no sense of attraction to that like it was before, perhaps as a teenager, or maybe in my late teens and early 20s. So there was a significant shift in my perception of others and also how I responded to them. So that for me was a clear sign that my affinity with the status quo kind of a life that everyone else is saying is the way to live doesn't quite match anymore. So Sanyas for me was quite an easy decision because it matched to what was naturally happening for me. So the one thing I learnt, right, so this whole process of, becoming a sannyasi is you are giving your all into having a superconscious breakthrough, and part of that is you coming familiar with all of the unconscious, unknown components of you, especially the social conditionings. So we're taught from a young age that we need things from outside of us to complete us, to fulfill us. And one of the biggest components that we're taught will fulfill us is that of, the significant other, or needing someone else to complete us, which I understand now it's so wrong. It's not at all true, and running behind that kind of an idea, we virtually waste our whole lives trying to find that significant other, for that kind of a fulfillment that is already there within us. And a part of this, unconscious becoming conscious, you start understanding that, see, a lot of these lovey-dovey, puppy, romance kind of feelings and the fulfillment that we're looking for, they're basically at the whim of, and they're dictated by our chemical, our hormones and our chemical responses in our body and our physiology, which give us that feeling, that rush of excitement and that feeling of puppy love and whatever it is that we chase after in someone else. So once you start becoming aware that or conscious of this is all it actually is that's happening inside of me, you're no longer controlled by that. You are the one that's in control of your whole body-mind system. So you're the one that decides, okay, do I really need to chase after something outside for something that I have inside of me? So what this has given me, so this understanding that, okay, it's just a hormonal response, or it used to be a hormonal response. And it's not to say that after we take sannyas and this vow of Brahmacharya that we become completely complete and that we don't have any lust patterns, right? It's not like they get completed immediately. They might still be there, but you're aware of it, and you no longer react as a result of this hormonal dictation in your body. So it's brought me so much completion and a lot of healing and a lot of clarity in knowing that I don't need anything outside of me to complete me. And I'm not saying, see, there's nothing wrong if you still want to pursue that and you want to have that kind of a relationship where you share your life with someone else. There's nothing wrong with that. In the Vedic tradition, every walk of life is honored and revered. So we have not just the sannyas order, but we also have people that choose to be grahastas or married couples. So in this adinam itself, we also have married couples that live here. So this is also encouraged. There's nothing wrong. But from my experience, I've found that this is, having been in relationships and having this sense of completion within myself, I can say hands down that sannyas is definitely the path for those that are willing to really have that superconscious breakthrough and understand that they don't need anything from outside to fulfill them. So it's not an impossible task. The vow of Brahmacharya, it's actually quite easy. If you're able to be ferocious with it, and if you're able to understand what's going on, and if you're able to basically just not, it's a decision to unclutch from any ideas or any of the conditionings that you have around you, or any of the conditionings that have been kind of sewn into you from a young age. and it's very liberating and very freeing. And I know there's many people that will be very successful sannyasis if they just dare to jump into it and dive into it and give it a shot. So don't let this one vow be a deterrent, because it's not at all as scary or as difficult as you might think it to be. So with that being said, I'll leave this open for any questions and comments that you may have, so feel free to ask away, and I'll do my best to answer each and every one. So thank you all. Until next time, Nithyanandam.